Archived content February 1, 2017. First things first, I got it wrong about David Luiz. His August deadline day return to Chelsea had looked like a panic buy, a desperate flick through the contacts book to recall a player famous for much character, a wacky personal style, and tendency to zone out of games at just the wrong moment. He was not a bad player in his first spell with Chelsea. In fact, his dressing room presence was a major boost at a time when it was needed, and in his greatest moments, it was possible to see glimpses of a player with incredible potential. But he was also, all too often, a defensive liability. There was often talk about his versatility, about how he might be a better midfielder than a defender, but managers bold enough to try it were not always positively rewarded for the experiment. What Antonio Conte knew, and seemingly very few of us paid to watch from the sidelines had grasped, is that Luiz was made for 343. I was never one of those who thought he would be better in a one or twoman holding role that would cramp much of his natural style, and also highlight his frailties in concentration, but as the middleman in a back three, with hardworking cohorts either side, and an almost impossible to dispossess N'Golo Kante in front, he has transformed into the player we had always hoped to see. At Liverpool, for example, Luiz was supreme, controlling play from back to front in a pulsating first half, playing with passion and composure. He had timing, presence, distribution, physicality, the lot. His free-kick goal was brilliantly taken, and it was only a knee injury later in the first half which slightly limited a highly impressive performance. Even then he battled on, at times clearly uncomfortable. After all, this is a man who played in, and won, a Champions League final with only one fully functioning leg. As well as having a manager who fully understands his worth, not always the case first time around. Luiz is also clearly a more rounded personality now, but with no diminishing of the leadership skills that have long been evident. It was remarked to me while at Anfield that he had the potential to be Chelsea's next captain, while, if truth be told, he is more or less the club's present one. That is no detriment to Gary Cahill, more a sign of the sort of team developing that Chelsea had a decade ago, where big personalities work together well, and lead those who rely more on flair than on grit. Jurgen Klopp spoke highly of him after the game, and following a chat the pair enjoyed once spoils were shared, it was nice. He is, after the game, much nicer than in the game away from the field of play. He is once more one of West London's most popular footballing figures, great with fans, young and old, and a real contributor to the positive way in which the club is perceived. It was refreshing to see him, stuck in traffic on the Fulham Road after a recent game, wind down the window of his Jeep to pass the time with his starstruck takeaway delivery cyclist. I was not the only one to have misgivings when Luiz returned. Always liked the guy, not always so keen on his play. I was wrong about the geezer, and having seen him go into battle for the Blues this season, I've never been happier to admit that about a player. Share this. 23,191